All right, let's talk about dating apps, the digital Wild West, where swiping left or right can feel like gambling on your romantic future. If you've ever wondered why some people seem to hit the jackpot, while others are stuck refreshing their inbox for even a single match, you're not alone. And let's be real, if you're a guy, chances are you've experienced the infamous no-match blues. You've set up the perfect profile, a well-lit selfie, a group shot to prove you're sociable, and maybe even a hiking photo to scream, "I'm adventurous." But after hours of swiping and refreshing, your inbox is emptier than your fridge on grocery day. Meanwhile, your female friends are casually complaining about being overwhelmed by too many likes. What's going on here? This isn't just bad luck, it's math, psychology, and a sprinkle of human behavior, all wrapped up in an algorithm that doesn't care about your feelings. Today we're diving into why men get fewer matches on dating apps, what the numbers reveal about our swiping habits, and some surprising truths about the online dating world that might just blow your mind. Spoiler alert, it's not entirely your fault, but it's not entirely not your fault either. So grab a coffee and let's swipe through the facts. No awkward bios or blurry selfies required. Let's start by pulling back the curtain on how dating apps actually work, because they're a lot more than just swipe right for love machines. At their core, these apps are driven by algorithms, complex systems designed to keep you engaged and, let's be honest, spending money. The algorithm decides whose profiles you see, how often your profile gets shown, and even how you rank in the queue of potential matches. Think of it as a matchmaking wizard, but instead of magic, it's fueled by data, like how often you log in, how picky you are, and yes, whether or not you've shelled out for that premium membership. But the real kicker? Not everyone starts on an equal playing field. One of the biggest factors influencing your experience is the gender ratio on these apps. On platforms like Tinder and Bumble, there are significantly more men than women, about 2-to-1, according to some studies. Imagine showing up to a party where there are twice as many guys as girls. Suddenly, it's not just about being charming or having a good profile. It's a numbers game, and the odds aren't in your favor. So, what does that look like in practice? Well, women get flooded with likes, often to the point of being overwhelmed. They open the app and see a like counter that looks more like a high score, while men are left wondering if their profiles are stuck in some algorithmic void. This imbalance isn't just frustrating, it shapes how people behave on the apps. Men, faced with fewer matches, tend to swipe right more generously, hoping to increase their odds. Women, on the other hand, become more selective, partly because they can afford to be, and partly because, let's face it, they're tired of dealing with the occasional creepy message. And this brings us to the first big takeaway. Dating apps aren't just reflecting human behavior, they're amplifying it. The more men swipe indiscriminately, the more women feel the need to filter aggressively. It's a feedback loop, and the algorithm loves it because it keeps everyone swiping. But this is just the beginning. Things get even more complicated when we factor in attractiveness and how it skews the entire system. Trust me, this is where the plot thickens. All right, let's get into the real juicy part. Attractiveness and how it basically runs the entire dating app game. Now, before you roll your eyes and think, "Oh great, another pretty people win story," hear me out, because the numbers here are wild. On most dating apps, the distribution of likes isn't anywhere close to even. In fact, studies and even data shared by apps like Hinge showed that a tiny percentage of users get a huge chunk of the attention. For men, it's the top 10% of profiles that get over 50% of the likes from women. For women, it's the top 25% of profiles getting the same treatment from men. Let me put it this way. If dating apps were a high school cafeteria, the popular kids aren't just sitting at the cool table. They're getting their meals delivered by the rest of us. And it's not just about having the perfect jawline or a glamorous vacation photo. Small details like lighting, angles, and even your bio can tip the scales in your favor, or against you. If your profile photo looks like it was taken with a potato, you're probably not doing yourself any favors. Now, here's where things get even more interesting. While men swipe right far more often than women, about 3 times as much according to some studies, they're not exactly swiping randomly. Most of those swipes are still concentrated on that top tier of profiles. Women, meanwhile, swipe less frequently, but tend to spread their likes more evenly across profiles. This creates a scenario where the most attractive men are drowning in matches, while the majority of male users are lucky to get even a single like. It's like a pyramid scheme, but instead of money, it's validation. This inequality also changes how people behave. For the top-tier users, it's a buffet. They have so many options that they can afford to be hyper-selective. But for the average user, particularly men, the scarcity of likes pushes them to swipe right on almost everyone, hoping something, anything sticks. And let's not forget the psychological toll this takes. For men, it's frustrating to see little to no engagement despite putting effort into their profiles. For women, it's exhausting to sift through a sea of likes, knowing many of them are coming from people who probably didn't even read their bio. Here's the kicker: the algorithm doesn't care about fairness. Its job is to keep you engaged, and these imbalances are part of what makes that happen. Men keep swiping, hoping for a match. Women stay selective, filtering through the options. And the app gets what it wants: constant activity, endless swipes, and maybe even a few of you hitting that upgrade to premium button in desperation. But this system also raises some big questions about how dating apps shape our self-esteem, our expectations, and even our relationships. And spoiler alert, it's not always pretty. Let's unpack that next. Now, let's talk about the psychological toll of dating apps, because it's not just about the numbers. It's about how those numbers make us feel. For men, the low match rates can be a serious hit to self-esteem. Imagine swiping through hundreds of profiles, putting your best effort into curating the perfect pictures, writing a witty bio, and crickets. No matches, no messages, just silence. Over time, that kind of rejection, even if it's algorithmic, starts to feel personal. Studies have shown that men using dating apps are more likely to experience feelings of inadequacy and frustration, which can spiral into what some researchers call dating app burnout. But women aren't getting off easy here either. Sure, they may get more matches and messages, but that often comes with its own set of challenges. Decision fatigue is real. When you're inundated with options, it's harder to make a choice, let alone a meaningful one. And then there's the darker side: intrusive or inappropriate messages, which are unfortunately a common experience for women on dating apps. This makes many women even more selective, which in turn exacerbates the cycle we talked about earlier. Men swipe more, women filter harder, rinse and repeat. And let's not forget the role of comparison. Dating apps create an environment where everyone's profiles are essentially advertisements for themselves, showing off the best photos, the most interesting hobbies, and the coolest trips. It's easy to fall into the trap of comparing yourself to others, which can lead to feelings of inadequacy. For men, this might look like questioning why their profile doesn't stack up. For women, it might involve dealing with the pressure of being judged by so many people at once. What's really fascinating, and slightly terrifying, is how all of this impacts our expectations for relationships. Dating apps gamify romance, turning connections into a numbers game. Swiping, matching, and messaging feel more like a quest for validation than a genuine effort to find someone compatible. Over time, this can make people approach dating with a mindset that's more transactional than emotional. And when those expectations clash with real-life relationships, things can get messy. So, what's the takeaway here? It's not that dating apps are evil or that they're destined to ruin your love life. In fact, studies show that online dating is now the most common way couples meet in the US. But these apps do come with some significant pitfalls, ones that we need to understand if we want to use them without losing our minds or our self-esteem. Next, let's dive into how we can navigate these challenges and make the most of the online dating world without letting it take over our lives. So, how do we navigate this digital minefield without letting dating apps turn us into stressed out, validation-hungry swipers? First, let's start with some practical tips for men. If you're feeling like your profile is stuck in purgatory, take a step back and evaluate it. Are your photos doing you justice? No, that blurry bathroom selfie isn't helping. Aim for clear, well-lit pictures where you look approachable and confident. And don't forget to add variety. Show your interests, whether it's hiking, cooking, or, I don't know, your dog stealing the show. A great bio helps too. Keep it short, engaging, and specific. Instead of, "I love traveling," try, "Ask me about the time I got lost in Tokyo and ended up at a karaoke bar." Trust me, specifics are way more memorable. For women, the challenge is often about managing the overwhelming amount of likes and messages. One way to cut through the noise is by being intentional with your swipes. It's tempting to ignore your inbox when it's flooded, but taking a little time to engage with meaningful matches can go a long way. And don't be afraid to set boundaries. Many apps now have features that allow you to filter messages or report unwanted behavior. Use them. Your experience should feel empowering, not exhausting. Now, for everyone, there's one golden rule. Don't put all your romantic eggs in the dating app basket. Yes, apps are convenient, but they're just one tool in the toolkit. Meet people through hobbies, mutual friends, or that random book club you've been thinking about joining. The truth is, the offline world still has plenty of opportunities to connect without the swiping fatigue. And then there's the bigger picture. As users, we can advocate for better transparency and fairness in how these apps operate. Why not push for algorithms that promote more meaningful connections instead of endless scrolling? Some apps are already experimenting with features that prioritize compatibility over sheer quantity, so it's possible. And hey, let's normalize taking breaks from these platforms. The dating app hamster wheel isn't going anywhere, but your sanity might be if you don't step off every once in a while. In the end, dating apps are what you make of them. They can be a great way to meet people, but only if you approach them with a healthy mindset and realistic expectations. Remember, the goal isn't to win some imaginary popularity contest. It's to find someone who actually clicks with you, and that's something no algorithm can guarantee. Up next, let's take a step back and look at the broader implications of online dating, how it's changing the way we view relationships, and what the future might hold for these digital matchmaking platforms. Stay tuned. Let's zoom out for a moment and look at the bigger picture, how online dating is changing the way we think about relationships, and what it might mean for the future of romance. For starters, dating apps have completely flipped the script on how people meet. Just a couple of decades ago, meeting someone online was considered niche, or even weird. Now it's the norm. Studies show that in the US, online dating is the most common way couples meet, outpacing introductions through friends, family, or workplaces. It's not just a trend, it's a full-blown cultural shift. But with this shift comes some major changes in how we approach relationships. Dating apps make it easy, too easy, some might argue, to see potential matches as disposable. If a date doesn't go perfectly, there's always another profile to swipe on. This endless pool of options can lead to something researchers call the paradox of choice. When you're faced with too many options, it's harder to commit to just one, because you're always wondering if someone better is just a swipe away. It's like trying to pick a show on Netflix, except instead of wasting time, you're risking real emotional connections. On the flip side, dating apps have opened doors that might have been closed in the pre-digital world. They've made it easier for people to meet across geographic, cultural, and social boundaries. Long-distance relationships, once a logistical nightmare, now start with a swipe and a video call. They've also given marginalized communities, like LGBTQ+ individuals, a way to connect and find acceptance in ways that might not have been possible before. But as these apps shape the future of dating, they're also raising important questions. For example, how do algorithms influence who we match with? Research has shown that some dating apps unintentionally reinforce biases, like showing users more matches from their own racial or socioeconomic background. This isn't necessarily intentional. It's often the result of algorithms optimizing for engagement, but it raises ethical concerns about whether these platforms are encouraging diversity or just reinforcing existing divisions. And then there's the question of privacy. Dating apps collect a staggering amount of data, everything from your location to your swiping habits to what kind of people you're attracted to. Some apps even use AI to predict what profiles you're most likely to engage with. While this can make the experience feel personalized, it also means you're giving up a lot of personal information. As online dating becomes more mainstream, it's worth asking how much of our privacy we are willing to trade for convenience. Looking ahead, it's clear that dating apps aren't going anywhere. In fact, they're likely to get even more sophisticated, with features like AI-powered matchmaking and virtual reality dates already on the horizon. But whether these innovations make dating more meaningful or just more complicated remains to be seen. What's certain is that online dating is reshaping how we form connections, and that comes with both opportunities and challenges. So, where does that leave us? Dating apps can be a great tool for meeting people, but they're not a one-size-fits-all solution. They're part of a larger, evolving landscape of how we connect in the digital age. And as we navigate this brave new world, it's worth remembering that behind every profile is a real person, just as flawed, hopeful, and human as you are. The key to making the most of these platforms isn't just about optimizing your profile or gaming the algorithm. It's about approaching them with an open mind, a little patience, and maybe just a touch of humor. After all, if love can survive the awkwardness of a first date, it can probably survive a few swipes too. And now, let's bring it all together with some final thoughts on dating apps and their role in our lives. If there's one thing we've learned, it's that these platforms are a double-edged sword. On one hand, they've revolutionized the way we meet, making it easier than ever to connect with people you might never cross paths with in real life. They've opened up a world of possibilities, bridging geographic and social divides in ways we couldn't have imagined just a couple of decades ago. But on the other hand, dating apps aren't just neutral tools, they shape how we think about love, relationships, and even ourselves. The algorithms that drive these platforms aren't designed to create fair, balanced experiences. They're designed to keep you swiping. For men, that often means dealing with low match rates and the frustration that comes with it. For women, it means navigating a flood of attention that can feel both overwhelming and, at times, unwelcome. And for everyone, it means grappling with the psychological effects of gamified romance. So, where do we go from here? First, it's important to manage expectations. Dating apps can be a great way to meet people, but they're not a magic solution. They're a starting point, not the whole journey. If you're feeling burnt out, take a break. Try meeting people in real life, whether it's through shared interests, mutual friends, or that random conversation at a coffee shop. The best connections often happen when you're not even looking for them. Second, let's push for better design and accountability from the platforms themselves. We can advocate for algorithms that prioritize meaningful connections over endless scrolling. We can demand better safety features and greater transparency about how our data is used. After all, these apps are shaping the future of dating, and we deserve a say in how that future looks. Finally, remember that dating, whether online or offline, is a deeply human experience. Behind every profile is a person with hopes, fears, and their own set of insecurities. Treat them with kindness, and don't forget to be kind to yourself too. It's easy to get caught up in the swiping, the stats, and the endless comparisons. But at the end of the day, what really matters is connection. Whether it's a match on an app, a smile across a crowded room, or even just a funny story about the one time you swiped right on your coworker by accident, it's all part of the adventure.